Hello, everyone. So I'm just coming back from yet another conference, a women-centered, women-centric, women empowerment-based conference. And I'm also conflicted, like many of you, whether it makes sense so much to do a exaggerated, explosive celebration of Women's Day. There are merits, there are shortcomings of that, but this is not the subject we are going to talk about today. There is definitely a merit in highlighting and marking out a day, a week, a month to be able to talk about this, even if enforced, even if it is a bit of a fad, even if it is a bit of a dilution or trivializing it with candlelit dinners and cakes and roses and greeting cards. I understand there is always going to be that. When we try to enmass something or mainstream something, there's always going to be some kind of dilution. So I completely get you when many of you write that, have we forgotten the real bloody history that we are celebrating it as if we have got it? And I also get the people who are doing it, because to even recognize the need to celebrate, to recognize the small steps, the small celebrations, the small milestones are perhaps one way of recognizing that we need to look at this direction. Here is one thing that that kept coming back to me, almost haunting me for a while we discuss all of these issues. These have been discourses. At times, I'm afraid these have been a bit of an armchair discourse, because we have been talking about it in social media a lot, also by the women, for the women, of the women, women communities, which are very important and essential sisterhood in their own way, which have their huge space and requirement. But it would defeat its purpose if those conversations stay stuck in those groups and don't go to the dining table and to the boardroom and to the coffee machine at the workplace. So one is taking those conversations beyond the women. And at this point, I'm going to make a statement that may sound blasphemous, which is that, women empowerment has become a term that we have almost accepted without debating too much. There was, of course, a time, and of course, what is empowerment means different thing. There are different interpretation, different implication. But why is gender regularization or gender justice about women and also LGBTQIA community, which we are also forgetting at times while we are talking about it? Why is it about women or marginalized or on the spectrum? Why is it not everybody's problem? And also to highlight this fact that so much of our budget, so much of our discourses, so much of our conversations are focusing on what women should do. So women should be strong enough to leave the child home. Women should be strong enough, or to lean in, to stand up for herself, to speak more strongly, to speak more loudly. It, women should not play the victim card. But isn't it a victim blaming of sort? Women are not broken. The system is broken. We need to fix the system. And all these conversations, while these are extremely important and extremely instrumental, women empowerment is perhaps a term we should grow out of. We should talk about gender justice. We should talk about gender equity. And to differentiate equity from equality is to say that you won't give the same food to a 7-month-old and a 7-year-old and a 70 years old. So just like that, women have certain needs. It is not to say one gender is less than any other gender. It is to say there are different needs. There are real different needs. There are, in a women's work cycle. And by that, I mean, working out of home corporate cycle, which itself is a, sad definition of a working woman, because every woman is working, be it at home and outside. But talking of a corporate circle also, if we should have equity, we should have legitimate consideration of things that are women specific things, be it infertility treatment, be it going through the advanced stages of pregnancy before she starts off with the maternity leave, coming back, the new mom, the postpartum depression. There are so many things. It is not to say that women can work any less. Women can work as much more. In fact, she ends up working so much more to make up for so many of those nuanced differences that hurt her in terms of, access to sponsorship and mentorship, and not being a part of the main kotori or the bro culture. There are so many things. Of course, there's no end to that discourse. But my main takeaway from this week of frenzied celebration of Women's Day is that, one, we need to differentiate between equity and equality. And it is time we talk about gender equity to see what women need. The platinum rule, as many of us call it today, if the golden rule is that, treat her like you would like her to treat you, the platinum rule is treat her like she likes to be treated. Very basic things. If the companies are going to give R&R, is it something that a woman desires? Is it adequately engaging her to, is it attractive to her? So a whole lot of things needs to be mainstreamed, not just specific policies for specific times for the woman, but the mainstream culture of the workplace needs to be more equitable in favor of the feminine. That is number one. Number two is more men should come into this conversation. We need the women communities. It has its own place and own instrumental role to play. But to make men the ally of the process, the cross is not women's to carry. Men should step up to become allies themselves. It is not for the woman to either attend women leadership program to learn how to talk like a man or how to negotiate like a man because the corporate culture is masculine, but also for the men to amplify the voice of the woman, to speak softly if required, to repeat what she said before he makes his own point, to do every small thing or large thing or whatever, to pick up the knife to cut the cake and slice it and serve it to everybody, and not wait for the woman in the team to take up that job. Second would be really, the first one is about equity versus equality. The second one would be to make men an ally. And the third one is that as much as we work in the space of diversity and inclusion, and that's so important, and the numbers are so poor and so abysmal, it's a shame, it's a crying shame. But having said that, the phrase diversity and inclusion sound very inadequate and very incomplete. The complete phrase should be diversity, inclusion, and belonging. Does she belong to the workplace? Does she feel welcome? Does she feel joy to think of going and working in the team? I know we all have Monday blues. I'm not pretending or imagining an utopia where instead of Monday blues we would be excited, oh my god, Sunday is gone and now comes Monday and we are all excited to go to work. It's not that. Of course, it's based on the ground reality of so much of employee engagement, and that is a problem which is gender agnostic and for all of us to solve. Why aren't we happy? But apart from that, does she belong? I think that is a gendered question. What are we doing at the corporate workplace to help her belong? So once again, equity versus equality, making men an ally of the process, and number three, diversity, inclusion, and belonging. That has been my takeaway from the Women's Week, Women's Day, International Women's Day celebration this week long. And I once again congratulate each one of you who have stopped to make a post on it, either to say it is important or to say it is not important, or to say what a crime shame it is that we are having to fight for equality even in 2021. I hear all of you and I agree with each one of you, even though that sound conflicting or paradoxical. I see where each one of you are coming from, and I agree wholeheartedly with each one of you. But let us take away what we can do. A problem is not a problem unless there is a solution. And gender problems are a social construct, which also tells us that it can be deconstructed. It is not a nature's rule, it is not a gravitational rule. It is a social construct and it can be deconstructed. So let us deconstruct it. Once more, I am at the cost of repeating, saying that once more, three things. Number one, let's fight for equity, not equality. Number two, let the men be allies. And this I'm putting on the men, not just on the women, to make men allies, but for the men to step up and become the ally of the process. It is not just enough to have a prevention of sexual harassment and to just do what is enough to not be inappropriate to a woman. We have to set up bigger, higher standards for ourselves, become an ally of the process. And number three, diversity, inclusion, and belonging. Treat her like she wants to be treated. Make her feel welcome at work. Make her belong to the workplace.